All right. Hopefully I'm back. Hello, hello. All right. So I've given up on my phone. I'm going to plug this in. And I'm going to switch back to external mic. Hello, hello. That seems better. Okay. This is going to make you feel better. Jeff, you can get a refund anywhere you want. Given that your total payment for this stream has been 0, you could literally, like, do anything and get a full refund. It's pretty awesome that way. I'm disappointed, though. That's fine. Whatever. Okay. I need to not let a silly bit of computer bullshit combined with technical bullshit get me down. So I usually wonder, like, why the hell do you need a massive phone storage? Like, why do people need 128 gig on their phone or whatever? I guess when your operating system is 16 gig, it makes a little bit more sense. Sorry, James. I'm not on purpose. I have been having some internet problems. No, I've been having some computer problems, which is mostly stemming from the fact that I'm on a computer that decides to auto-update things because it's actually owned by Google, and I don't take that into account. So I'm glad you're here, though. I'm glad my notifications have brought you to listen to my rambling. Hey, look at that. I mean, that'll be the last notification. So if you've gotten 3, I can't send you any more for 24 hours. So it's perfect. Problem solved. I apologize. That's all you can get in 24 hours. Notifications are spent. Ideally, I would have had all of those be one stream, not 3 different ones. But unfortunately, technology was not on my side. I thought I had like 5 minutes. Oh, shit. But my plan is to stream midday tomorrow. No, they're not planning on fixing it. They think it's completely working just fine. Which makes me sad. But, okay. So, these little yellow things in here that I built forever ago, these little yellow hooks, are apparently what I'm going to hook this into. So this is going to hook into this next to the fuel lines. So now that's hooked into there. Yeah, I don't know. Directive 13 will be interesting, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Excuse me. So I've only built 4 of these, and this is another one of these, like, I don't know how to tell if I'm putting these in the right place things. I think I did this one wrong, because apparently I need to hook into the top one. So if you look around, like, I've got top and bottom ones, and I was supposed to hook into the top ones. So I think I did one of them wrong, and I will do the rest of them correctly. Maybe. The problem is, okay, so do that, pop this out, do that, top one, top one, top one. That, and that. Okay. Was is next? Oh, now we're going to build more of these. Okay, fine. Ready? We've got a blue piece. Hello, Dark Dragon of Gaming. Yes, I am building a giant thing. Saturn V rocket. Yeah, fuck. God damn it. I'm really disappointed that, like, I assume that I sent out 3 notifications at this point, and that everything else is not gonna go out. So that means tomorrow I will have it doesn't matter. I'm having fun building this thing. It doesn't matter if people watch. I hope that you will all try to make it. Again, I will be streaming at 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow to finish up this build, whatever I don't finish tonight. So I hope you'll be able to make it back then. And I am sorry that I spammed your notifications if I did so. It was not an intentional trap. It was dealing with shitty issues on a computer. So... Anyway, I'm on step 110, so, you know, it's very different. Yeah. No, I mean, EU Directive 13, it seems to me like the intent of EU regulators in this case is to force big technology companies to have a system like Content ID. Now, it is clear that it is written in such a way that it will be really hard to comply with for most big online properties. Like that much is very clear. And YouTube has been doing a lot of work to try and explain why it's a real problem and why they are afraid it will have a major impact on them. In the end, EU regulations like this, just like any regulation, is really subject a lot more to how it's enforced rather than like what the wording says, because these things are being written and passed without a lot of idea about how the hell they would be implemented. And I don't think that YouTube is just going to shut down. Like, YouTube will make changes that they think allow them to comply with the law, but they're unlikely to just disappear because they just don't do that. Dark Dragon, I think that's because of one of the songs in it. I'm not surprised. Because I think I played music during one of them. I'll dig it up and see if there's anything I can do about it. But because those puzzle streams are streams where I tend to play other music, and that's why like there's no music in this stream. Well, also some other reasons, technical reasons, but it may have gotten blocked. Because I tended to do like karaoke during them, and when I do karaoke, I play other people's music, and so shit happens. So I think I saw that go by and went, whatever. It's like a multi-year-old live stream at this point. I'm not really worried about it anymore. So Article 13, well, so the bigger problem with Article 13 is not just like, even if you think Content ID is is fine as is, the problem is that it's still not clear that Content ID is enough, because you are then, like, Article 13 basically says you are liable if anything copyrighted is, like, published on your platform. Like, it drastically changes the liability game. And so even with Content ID, it's possible that YouTube could say, like, you have to make some kind of additional assertion, and, like, instead of like something going to Content ID and getting, claimed for rights or whatever else like that, it could be that the rule is like, nope, you just don't get to use anything that matches any Content ID claim, or anything that matches any copyrighted material. Like, gameplay is like a really big open question in this space. Gameplay has always had the property that, like, the majority of developers are fine with it, but if YouTube suddenly becomes liable for anyone playing games because the gameplay developers, like, they can't use Content ID to say this is mine, because, like, you can't, practically speaking, create a Content ID that works that way, then it's really difficult to allow them to say this is mine and it's okay. So anything that can have a content, it's basically like, imagine if the only things you can put on YouTube are things which have Content ID claims. Like, that's kind of the risk of Article 13, is not that, like, you'll be able to do a thing. So hello Sketch Squad TV, hello. Yeah, this build is really fun. It's really fun, and I like how it's coming together. I'm not a big Lego guy. I've not done a lot of Lego builds. I'm like definitely learning a lot as I go about these things, but there's so many cool little things about this build. Everything from the lunar module inside of it, and yeah. Yeah, so the problem, Darkmire, though, is that those clauses are not universal, and YouTube can't act on them. Like YouTube does not, in under an Article 13 world, like YouTube cannot treat those as authoritative because they're not. Because the reality is that like those claims, while common, are not sufficient to allow for blanket usage on YouTube. So they would have to somehow have some way of asserting for each of those pieces of content that they are okay, even if they're baked into the terms of service, because the terms of service aren't with YouTube. And also another thing about most of those copyright grants is that they are revocable, which is why Campo Santo, despite the fact that they have a "you are free to stream our games on YouTube" clause on their like website or baked into their experience, is was still able to issue a takedown to PewDiePie when he did something that they didn't like. So yeah, it's a fucking mess. All right. So put the blue facing in. To the middle. But yeah, so I'm really liking this build. I'm really pleased with how well it's coming together overall. Okay, so I'm gonna have right. Okay, so now I've just got the two spaces here, basically. This one, which like I can cover, but but like there's gonna be a piece in the middle. As far as Thanksgiving, I didn't do much. I cleaned my basement, did a couple loads of laundry. Jess and I chilled at home. I called my family and said hi to them, but that's about it. We're not big holiday folks in general, so for us, it's pretty typical to be the kind of folks who do, you know, Chinese food, order in, and hang out and watch Netflix. And I did approximately that. What did we do? We did something together. And then Jess just kind of chilled. So yeah, so there are actually, so when I was growing up, my grandfather was a big puzzle. My grandmother, somebody on my grandfather's side of the family, was a big puzzle guy, and so we actually bought 3D puzzles. So 3D puzzles are like they have foam pieces, so they can kind of interlock and stand together and stand up. And they were really cool. So we bought one of those for my grandfather that was of like Neuschwanstein Castle, which is a piece that has always been kind of meaningful to my family because we're from Germany, and it was a really cool piece to see him put together, and I think it stayed in their house for forever. It was like we bought it in like 95, and I still remember in like 2010 still seeing it there. It might still be there now for all I remember. So it is, yeah, so that is one of the OLPC laptops. So the OLPC project was one laptop per child, way back times. So that was a project to try to provide laptops for children in developing nations. And so they're trying to build a particularly ruggedized device that could support the like rigorous needs of that environment, and apparently some of them are still like even 10 years later are still like in use, in action today. So yeah, so that is exactly what that project that is. It's from that project way back when. Okay, cool. So we are just right now, I had talked a couple times about the fact that there were these gaps in the cowling that I was a little bit like concerned about. But we are actually filling in the final gaps with all these little grids here right now. So we got 1, 2. Somewhere there should be one more grid piece, which I don't see at the moment, but I'm sure it will turn up at some point. So we've got that. And so now we can actually see all of these around except for this one piece I'm missing. We've got all of this around is all filled in. All of this around is all filled in. So we've now actually got kind of the base of this looking pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let me see if... Okay, well, one grid piece that I'm missing, but... Oh, I did find the silver piece that I was missing, which goes in here somewhere. I'll have to take that apart at some point and put it back in, but that's fine. Okay, alrighty. But yes, so this... So EXO is the name of the laptop. It's the one laptop per child laptop, so it had this kind of very plasticky, rubberized keyboard. The thing would close and lock. They were designed to be long-lasting on battery life so that they would not need to charge every day or whatever else like that. They were kind of a unique screen, if I remember correctly, that was like designed to be low. So I think it was a grayscale screen. I don't remember at this point. I don't have a charger for it or anything else like that. But yeah, so, and then they also, so this was before lots of computers did this, but they could be used kind of as like a tablet. So this is a touch screen, a black and white touch screen, I think is what it was. So, and they had like USB jacks and stuff like that. So, one of the problems was like, you know, basically there were not a lot of educational activities at the time that were really designed for okay, there you go. Mark remembers better than I do. There were not a lot of educational activities, so a lot of the project ended up being basically just like figuring out how to create the right kind of educational materials for the developing world, which was a task that they hadn't really kind of thought of when they started doing the hardware design. So yes, mesh networking as well as Wi-Fi was another big piece of it. Oh no, my ring fell off. So that was a Linux-based, thing, but it was specific. It was a specific build that they did. It was like a Debian alternative, but it was a specific build that they did that was very different from the average Linux build. So, okay, alrighty. So now I think I'm going to build some boosters. Did I just cut open bag 6? It is, right? I don't see... So the thing it wants me to find is this, but I don't see those little sticks anywhere here. Oh, here's my last thing. I cut open bag 9. I had it upside down. Okay. All right. Bag 9. You're gonna have to go away. Ugh. It's like I don't understand. Everything else in this build has been perfect so far, except for this one thing where I'm getting totally the wrong pieces. Alrighty. It's like, none of this looks right. Like, there's absolutely nothing about what this bag has that looks like it's doing the right thing. Something must be wrong. Okay. So I need 7 of the yellows and 8 of the black. Which, I don't see anywhere near 7 of those. Oh, 8, 8, 8. Okay, maybe. Oh, are they 7-sided versus? No. So I got 4 of the. I don't know why it's. Oh no. Okay, 7 and 8 are lengths. Okay, they're different colors. Why would you like? Look at this. Okay. Like, what do you think the 7 and 8 are telling me there? Like, the reality is that I need 4 of one and 1 of the other, but the 7 and 8 are the numbers that stood out to me, and like that was not a thing. So I have CPG Rant, which was the used to be Homer, but it was that same pose. In fact, I sent the picture of the pose to the person who made that art, and she made it from that. So that is probably the one you were thinking of, but it was not a dough. But it was similar enough. Yeah, but I just, like, they're also, one is yellow and one is like, one is yellow and one is black. Like, I don't need to know how long they are. I just need to know what they are. Anyway, okay, so it stands up on its legs. Cool. Alrighty. I need this. And I need 4 of these. Oh, I'm getting like little. These are a lot of weird little parts, right? Like, this is normal-ish. This part, it's weird. Okay. This one slides into the middle. And this slides onto the peg end with this inward. Bag 8 is not bag infinity. That's correct. Oh god! Stop, stop! Snapped a piece off. Okay. There we go. Yeah. So it's good. I'm gonna do 4 like that. Just gotta find them all. Gotta catch them all. Pokemon. Ah, yeah. I was never a Technic person. That was another thing that, like, we did not have in my house because we were not sufficiently fancy. Ugh, getting them through here is hard. Okay, there we go. All right. So these are actually snapping one of these things that was kind of like loose. It was connected on by a couple studs at the bottom, and more sufficient, like more. Oh god. Connecting it more aggressively. So now you'll have 2 interlocking studs on the outside attached to a peg that is then connected by this piece into a hole on the inside. So it's definitely going to be a much more serious connection than it was before. Okay, and one more somewhere in here, I think. Should be. Oh, here it is. All right. But yeah, so I think that so Article 13 is going to be interesting. How major platforms react is going to be interesting. How the EU will actually enforce it will be interesting. It's like the GDPR stuff where a lot of it is like I don't know, like a lot of the effect has basically been self-policing, or even like FOSTA SESTA. Like a huge amount of FOSTA SESTA in the US has just been self-policing by platforms that are scared of the potential impact of regulation. And that's my biggest fear, is that you will see a huge impact even though regulators don't know what it means, don't know what they want, and don't know what they're trying to do, that they'll still end up in a situation where there's a huge chilling effect on speech, because people don't know what to do because there's no meaningful guidance or anything else like that. And that's really going to be the scary part. So like, what action is YouTube going to take in an effort to make EU regulators happy, before they actually like are ready to act? Is it going to be reasonable? Is it going to be overly aggressive? Like, what is that going to look like is a totally reasonable question. Oh, I bet this is a Saturn V, not because of 5 stages, but because of 5 engines on the bottom. Or maybe it was like the 5th Saturn model? I don't know. I don't think there was a Saturn III. Was there? Or Saturn IV? I should play Kerbal Space Program at some point. Maybe that'll be next week's stream. Of course, I'd have to, at some point, finish this model build, so maybe not, but... Okay. So, this is another piece that is definitely unfamiliar to me, is this, which is like a weird snappy piece that snaps around this. It's weird. So yeah, how are platforms going to self-regulate in the face of EU Directive 13 is an interesting question. Like, and I don't mean that as in like that's not Starky at all. I think it will be an honestly like a weird thing to see and see how it actually looks. Because I don't think that the EU has any idea what it is planning to do. I don't think it has any idea. I guess I've heard of the Saturn IIb. Okay. Interesting. Okay, 2x2 on top of this. Slots into that. And now they go on the engines. Okay. And they go inside. Ow. Yeah. Okay, and so basically, I'm just attaching little motors, engines, whatever, to the bottom of this. Not motors, engines. Cool. So now we got 5 engines. And we're going to build something 5 times. So we've got a loudspeaker. We've got a weird arm thing. Weird arm thing. Boop. We've got a top stud, which we've actually seen before. It is not that surprising, and a roundy thing. Okay, so, and this is a case where it's definitely reuse of an existing bit, right? Like the little loudspeaker thing is definitely something I've seen like minifigs holding or whatever, but not usually as part of a build. And so this can now swing, and so it's going to go onto the engine like this. Hello, Jess. Welcome, welcome. I think, nope, goes inside. Okay. So yeah, and then these swing in and sit. Oh god, I broke it off, but sit in here. Okay. So I don't know what these parts are in like a real ship, but man, they're fiddly and Lego. That's all I can say. Okay, cool. All right, one done, 4 to go. Ba-ba-da-ba. Hello, hello. Rocket Man, heard it's gonna be a long, long time. And you think it's gonna be a long, long time. Oh, 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 oh. I'm a rocket man. Heard it's gonna be a long, long time. Okay, rocket man. He does whatever a rocket man does. Yeah, well, and that's one of the things, right? Like, okay, now I am clearly infringing on someone's, copyright. How does an EU regulator look at that? Does YouTube have a responsibility to like act in response to that? Like, is that the type of thing that is going to be leading the question, or what? I don't know. I don't know how EU regulators are going to interpret it. I don't know how YouTube is going to interpret it. And as I said, the biggest question is going to, about EU whatever it's called, is going to be how do folks, the biggest issue I'm concerned about is how are platforms going to self police. What steps are they going to take? Because I feel like that is going to be the most fundamentally risky part of the whole process. So. Okay, another arm. Because I think FOSTA and the entire, like, Reddit having deleted all of their not safe for work communities and other things like that were really desperately harmful for a lot of like sex work and other things like that. Even legitimate, like, legal sex work. It just becomes more difficult to learn important information for sex workers and will end up with loss of lives. So how are you going to prevent that in this case? And it's not even clear that the EU regulators consider this something that they're worried about. And that's really the most frustrating part, is that like the EU's Twitter account went and was like, oh, look at how much, you know, we think that this isn't blah, blah, blah. And it's like, God, your level of gaslighting here is just huge. Just huge. Okay, I want to point this away from the bottom. Shit. So a thing that I just realized is that what I need to have is to have all of these little like engine supplements be studs down. Probably because something may hook onto that afterwards. So I want them to be studs out. So I'm gonna turn a couple of these around because I did them wrong. Actually, all but 2 of them I did wrong. So yeah, I'm really worried about EU Directive 13. I think that YouTube is doing a hard push about being worried about it as well, and I don't think that that's fake. I think that that is, we have no idea how to comply with this and still allow UGC, because it's written to not allow UGC. It's written to like not allow people to upload content that hasn't been checked by a human, and I think that that would be bad. I think that like the benefits of major platform hosting for the purposes of making information available to a broad audience are huge. And to just like not have that anymore because platforms are scared of what will happen to them would suck. But I worry that that's basically what we'll have. Okay, there we go. So now I have 5 engines. Well, so Jeff, there are 400 hours of content uploaded to YouTube every minute, which would mean that you would need full-time. 400 times 60 is 24,000 people reviewing all the time, which means you would need a staff of like 200,000 people full-time, which is bigger than Google's entire entire engineering staff or full-time staff by a factor of like 2 at this point. I'm not saying that there isn't the potential for platforms to do that, but I am saying they won't do that. That will not be the choice they will make. They will very much choose first to limit the content to the things that make them money instead of hiring that many people, because it's just too many. It's just too many. It's too expensive, and it's not worth it. So. I mean, IP blocking all of the information from the EU is the type of solution that I would consider a bad thing. There's also the fact that like almost all of these EU regulations are written such that they should apply when the content is served to even non-EU citizens, I think. Or people who aren't in the EU but who are EU citizens. I don't know. I don't know about Directive 13 in particular, but like GDPR, for example, is definitely like you can't just geo-block the EU, because if you're an EU citizen traveling in the US, I think that at least some people think it also applies to you. So Google definitely implemented all of its GDPR stuff globally. Like there's no EU specific bits of that as far as I know. Not that I'm saying like there's not possibly something I'm not aware of, but in general, all of our changes for GDPR were global and not localized. I don't know how many people the NSA has, but I don't think it's that many. And the problem is like the flat Earth videos don't even violate the rules that would apply to this, right? Like YouTube has decided that flat Earth videos are okay. So in addition to like implementing this whole system, they would also like, even when a human reviews a flat Earth video on YouTube, their policy is, yeah, those are fine. So while I wish with all my heart that we would do more around conspiracy and more to be a source of truth, it is the case that I think YouTube has made a decision on that front, even though it's not the decision that I wish that they would make. I'm missing another fucking piece. I mean, I'm not missing. I'm sure it's here, and I just can't see it because it's happened like 5 times now. So I'm quite used to it at this point. All right. So I'm gonna. One of my engines will not have any fire coming out of it. Well, they have jurisdiction over the treatment of EU citizens, and that's the relevant bit there, right? Like they have a legal, or at least they claim, in the same way that the U.S. does for other things. Like they claim a legal jurisdiction over people who are EU citizens, even when they're not living in the EU. Subject to local laws and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's complicated. I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to. I'm not a lawyer. My opinions are my own and not those of my employer. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So now I have 4 rockets and 1 misfiring rocket, which I may find the piece for at some point. Now we've got to build some more cowlings. Got some. We're going to build 4 of something. Okay. Here we go. Ugh. Alright, I definitely want to get through bag 6, and maybe through bags... Oh, I'm not getting through bag 7 tonight. Alright, we're going to finish up bag 6 and then call it a night, and I will pick this back up at 1 p.m. tomorrow. You will not get a notification about it because YouTube sucks. So definitely tune in at 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. That is in 12 hours from now if you want to see more of this build. And we will go until we finish it. That is going to be the way it's going to be. So tune in for that tomorrow. Tune in next time for more Dragon Ball Z. Yes, I enjoy this project. It's a super cool build. It's a fun project. From technical issues as far as presentation of the stream goes, I'm more frustrated. But as far as the build itself, it's awesome. It's an awesome build. It's really well done. And even as someone who does not do a lot of Lego, it is enjoyable for me to put together. So I appreciate it, and it is fun. Okay, and I've got to put little things on top of this. So yeah, it is clear. It is also clear that like the EU has jurisdiction over a platform because it serves other EU residents. So the idea behind these legislations is the legislative impact of like, oh, you serve to EU citizens, is therefore we can do blah blah blah, is like it if there's just one person who's like in the US, fine. But if you are going to serve EU citizens at all, you have to comply with these rules, and they obviously do. So how do these attach? I don't. Is like a. Oh, like that? Ah, I dropped my megaphone. Okay. I did this backwards. Oh, that's gonna be the other one I'm gonna do anyway, so. White. White. Black. Black. Okay. So there's actually like two. Hello, Koodle. I love you too, Mrs. Jessica Allen Schmidt. So I need to do a couple this way. So basically there's two directions that you can attach these pieces. So you could have it this way, or you could attach them and turn them around and do it this way. I did two of each by accident. I was supposed to do all of them the same, but that's fine because it gives me the opportunity. Like the next step, step 127, is to do the other direction. So I jumped ahead a little bit. Oops, I forgot to put a piece on top of that. Hold it together. Yeah, so that's fine. It's all good. It's all good. The moon is beautiful tonight. It is beautiful tonight. I looked outside earlier when I was driving. No, what was I doing? Oh, I was taking the trash out. I took the trash out and I was like, wow, that is a pretty moon right now. It's a full moon, right? I feel like it's a full moon. Okay. Got this. I'll do one the other way. Hello, my pretties. And a topper. Got a topper here. So we are going to be wrapping up here soon. And once we wrap up, we will be moving on. I will get some sleep. I will come back tomorrow, and we will finish up this whole build. We will hopefully have fewer computer issues than we did now. And yeah, so I hope folks who are able will stop by tomorrow. Again, we'll be streaming at 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. And in the worst case scenario where, like, maybe I can't get it done tomorrow either because I'm only on bag 6 of 12, and my understanding is the last few bags are a little bit fiddly and take a bunch of time, then maybe we'll just continue on, Sunday as well until we finish it. But I expect that I will finish tomorrow afternoon, and we will see the last of this. Okay, so that is that. Oh, here's my piece. Okay, so this is the missing piece for my last engine. Great. So now I've got 4 engines, and you can see that each of them has... Oh. No, yeah. Okay. So each of them has 2, 2, 2, 2, except for the one in the middle, which doesn't have anything around it. So there we go. That was 127. Oh, and these actually close around it. Oh. Okay. Definitely put some of these megaphones in the wrong place, but that's okay. Adjust those later. Okay. So yeah, and then these all close up like this, so now they all go around them. Okay, so now I got a lot of little fiddly bits that we got to do. We've got some black pieces we will connect with blue pieces. And we're going to build 4 of these. So I've got a black to a white piece that sits on top of a black and a white piece. And has a black and a white piece in front. Boom. And we'll do it 4 more times. 1, 2, 3, or 3 more times rather. 1, 2, 3. We will have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. The moon is beautiful tonight, and we are going to go there with our rocket ship to space. Don't stop me now, we're having such a good time. We're having a ball. Don't stop me now. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Just give me a call. Don't stop me now. Don't stop me. We're having a good time. We're having a good time. Superman. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. 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 Don't stop me now. Don't stop me. You're having a good time. You're having a good time. Alright. Don't stop me now. Don't stop me now. Don't want to stop at all. Okay. So now we've got little pieces that go on top of our outer cowlings to make the engines even bigger. Okay. Oh, it's to provide support for the fins. I missed a step. No? Oh, okay. No. I put these in the wrong place. And we were all in one place, a generation lost in space. No time left to start again. Oh, helter skelter, any summer swelter. All generations fallout shelter. 8 miles high and falling fast. No. Jesus, save your mortal soul. Can you teach them how to dance real slow? Well, I know that she's in love with him, and I saw them dancing in the gym. They both kicked off the shoes. Oh, we made the rhythm and blues. It was a prepubescent flying buck. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I knew I was out of luck the day the music died. Bye-bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, "This'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die." An interesting thing about this is that there's almost no Lego studs visible on the outside, and I don't know if that's typical of these like big project-y builds, but it definitely strikes me as interesting, surprising, something. That's the wrong piece. I am kind of short of one little white piece. Not sure if it's around here somewhere. Again, I'm sure I'll find it, as I have found there it is. All the pieces that were missing so far. None of them were actually missing, they were just hiding from me. Okay. I was like, I don't know which side is which, they look the same. And I was like, oh right. Colors. Colors! One side is black, one side is white. You can just match those up to the parts that they're going to connect to. And it will look just fine. Okay, so I had mentioned repeatedly, like, hey, there's all this loose stuff that's like red and gray and other colors, and the outside of the Saturn V didn't have any of those colors. And so now we can see for the first time that we have actually covered all of the exterior parts of that. Oh yes, that's not on top. That's true. I've heard that. But yeah. Okay, so now we've got this. Alright, and I think that I have consumed all of bag 6. Bag 7 is from steps 136 to... Oh, bag 7 is like the start of building an entire other stage. So this is a pretty complex part of the build. Yeah, this is like another 40 steps, if not more. So there's pretty much no way that I would be able to get through this tonight without being... Yeah, okay. So the next bag is another 50 steps. We're probably not even half done with this at this point. I can probably move a little bit faster tomorrow. But that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you for chilling out and watching. Mark, especially, and anyone else who's been here the whole time. I appreciate it. Tomorrow, I will focus on the Lego building and less on the showing individual pieces. I may also change up the camera setup or something like that. But thank you all for being here. I hope that you enjoyed this Lego building experience, despite the computer issues in the middle of it, which were mostly caused by me being a dumbass. I will see all of you in about 12 hours. 1 o'clock tomorrow. I will be at 1 p.m. Eastern time. 12 hours, just short of 12 hours from now. I'll be back and doing more of this. So I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and I will see you tomorrow. Or not. In which case I'll be back on Monday. Bye-bye.